GOP Senate hopeful Marco Rubio down in Florida is gaining ground in that state after picking up yet another important Republican endorsement. Former New York City mayor and 2008 presidential candidate Rudy Giuliani is backing Mr. Rubio. But is Mr. Giuliani's endorsement just political payback, perhaps? He joins us live right now. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. The reason I say payback, back when you were running for president,
right.
Charlie Crist, who was running against Marco Rubio, could have endorsed you. He endorsed John McCain instead.
Well, first of all, that wouldn't occasion any sense of political payback. A lot of people endorse John McCain.
So no hard feelings.
Oh no, the story's a little deeper than that. And I always tell the truth. He promised me he would endorse me. Shook my hand at my house, looked in my eye. And
Charlie Crist promised he would endorse you.
Oh yes, twice in front of my wife.
And did not.
Yes, then did not. So that did leave the only ill feeling that I probably came away from the campaign with. Not because he endorsed John. I endorsed John. I was happy when he finally endorsed John because I wanted John to be the nominee. And
But your Florida strategy blew up because he didn't endorse you.
Well, also, I take very seriously, if you give your word in politics, you keep your word.
Absolutely.
Now, having said all that, I wouldn't have gotten in this race unless I thought there was a really terrific candidate on the other side, who I think, even if Charlie wasn't in the race, I would be endorsing Marco. Marco is exactly what Florida needs. He's someone who understands the need for fiscal conservatism. He's someone who understands our position with regard to terrorism. And when I look at the both of them, I say, who can I count on to stand against the Obama-Pelosi-Reid inexorable march towards social democracy? Can I count on Charlie, who embraced Obama in word and deed, embraced the whole stimulus program, seems to be a very enthusiastic supporter of cap and trade. So can you trust him as a reliable Republican? Yeah, reliable, sensible, conservative vote, because he goes to the left.
So did a lot of other Republicans, Mr. Mayor. I mean, and this, you're pointing out what is the challenge for the Republican Party right now, and you're seeing it play out in Florida, where in this primary you have the conservative Marco Rubio and then the more moderate Republican Charlie Crist.
Well, it depends on what you're more moderate about. I mean, if you're, all of us have our own, priorities as to what we think is important. I don't think this is the time to be moderate about spending money. I think it's the time to be disciplined about spending money. I don't think it was time to be moderate about a stimulus program that, to me, was a false promise. It was a promise of creating jobs. It was a political payback to the Democratic Party. It's played out so it's really saved nothing but government jobs. We've lost a lot of jobs, and when they do their job counting, always watch how many government jobs they're counting as the jobs they created with stimulus.
Oh, a lot.
That's what it was all about.
Sure.
And you have to be some kind of a naive person in politics to think that stimulus program was really to create jobs. It was right after the election, political payback, tremendous additive to the debt. That's, to me, I'm a fiscal conservative. I consider myself a fiscal conservative, a foreign policy conservative, and on social issues, I think people would say I'm more moderate than the base of the Republican Party. That's what I am. That's who I am. I'm always going to be that way. But if you're not a fiscal conservative and you move over on the other side on these issues, and then we got a good candidate that is, let's go with the one that is. If we didn't have a good candidate that was, and Charlie was the choice against a Democrat, maybe I would say let's support Charlie, even though I have my own personal view of his, breaking his word. But we have a much better candidate than Charlie.
And that's why he's leading in the polls right now.
Leading by 15, 18%.
Yeah.